We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Pro-Hamas protesters riot in D.C., Russian jets over Alaska, the deficit keeps rising, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Pro-Hamas demonstrators descended on Washington, D.C. on Wednesday as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed Congress in a scene that quickly turned chaotic. At least one demonstrator, whose face was covered, was carrying the flag of the terrorist group Hamas, while others were heard shouting, "Allahu Akbar." At Union Station, agitators burned an American flag and vandalized a Christopher Columbus statue with the words, "Hamas is coming." They also took down American flags and flew the Palestinian flags instead. Protesters also chased and harassed a Jewish man down the street and yelled at him, calling him Hitler. More than 60 Democrats chose not to attend Netanyahu's speech, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris. Nearly 100 interns also called in sick as a protest. Harris cited a scheduling conflict and will meet with him later in the week, as will Donald Trump. In his pugnacious speech, Netanyahu pledged to achieve total victory in Gaza and did not mention the status of ongoing negotiations for a ceasefire and return of hostages. He said the U.S. and Israel must stand together and praised both Trump and President Joe Biden while dismissing the protesters as Iran's useful idiots. President Biden addressed the nation for the first time on Wednesday since bowing out of the 2024 election on Sunday, saying he is passing the torch to a new generation, ignoring the fact that he was pushed out by the Democratic Party. The speech lasted only 11 minutes, with the president sitting at the resolute desk in the Oval Office while touting his years in political office and decision to bow out. Members of the president's family were in attendance for the speech, including First Lady Jill Biden, daughter Ashley Biden, son Hunter Biden, and others. The president said he looks forward to the work before him in his final 6 months in office, including pushing for Supreme Court reforms. The far left is pushing for court reforms because they could not get their ideas through Congress, and the Supreme Court has pushed back implementing them without congressional approval. Ahead of Biden's address, the North American Aerospace Defense Command Public Affairs, also known as NORAD, says it sent out fighter jets to intercept 2 Russian Tu-95 Bear bombers and 2 Chinese H-6 bombers off the coast of Alaska. In a press release, the agency confirmed that it detected, tracked, and intercepted 2 Russian Tu-95s and 2 PRC H-6 military aircraft operating in the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone on July 24th. NORAD fighter jets from the United States and Canada conducted the interception. Ford Motor Company reported quarterly profits well below Wall Street's expectations and notched another billion-dollar loss on EVs. The remaking of Ford is not without its growing pains, Ford Chief Executive Jim Farley said on a call with investors after the results. "We look forward to proving our EV strategy out. That has become more realistic and sharpened by the tough environment. Ford is confident it can reduce losses and sustain a profitable business in the future," he added. The car maker plans to focus on very differentiated EVs priced under $40,000 and $30,000 and on 2 segments, work and adventure, Farley said. The United States is on track to run its largest federal deficit outside of crisis times, such as the COVID pandemic, the global financial meltdown, and World War II. The extra large shortfall is more fuel for the election year blame game in Washington, with Republicans decrying out of control Democratic spending and Democrats retorting that the culprit is Republican tax cuts. The deficit for the fiscal year ending on September 30th will amount to almost $1.9 trillion, equal to 6.6% of gross domestic product, according to projections released Friday from the U.S. Office of Management and Budget, which is an arm of the White House. Estimates from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office put the gap at an even wider 6.7%. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.